everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Dallas Watch. I'm Warren Johnson. Today, October the 18th, we're going to cover another issue that's in the news these days here. We just recently came through the Amber Guyger trial, which caused a lot of concern and consternation among a lot of people on all sides on this. It was a sad situation for all parties concerned. It did have probably one of the finest TV moments ever when that brother of the young, Both John, I think was his name, was killed, when his brother asked to and eventually did hug his killer. And I think we're going to be seeing that played out forever on TV and other places. But not long after that, there was a similar shooting in Fort Worth where an officer answered a police call and came upon there and eventually shot and killed a woman in there as well. And so the police have been taking some major hits here lately. And so anyway, that's what we're going to discuss today. Now, one of the things, I'm going to stick on Amber Guyger for a second. When that first came out, when that first happened, right after that killing happened, it came out, and this is a little over a year ago, that she had walked into the wrong apartment unannounced, or unknown. She didn't know. She thought it was her apartment, and that was her excuse. Of course, everybody was coming out, it's crazy, on all sides. She certainly knew what apartment she went into. Well, I understood her situation. I live in a high-rise in Dallas, and there's 23 floors. And each floor you get off in the elevator, at that lobby, they all look the same. In fact, we'll have some pictures up here that will show you that all the lobbies look the same when you get out. And on several occasions, I have been looking at my cell phone or reading something, and I will get off on the elevator, and instead of looking where I am, I just get off and walk down 2 doors, and then I walk in the door. Most of the time it's mine, but on several occasions knowing that I just left to go downstairs to pick something up or something similar, I left the door open, and when I would get there, back to the door, I turned the knob and it would not open. It was locked, and I'd look around, why is this? Because I know I didn't lock it. Well, lo and behold, I just happened to get off on the wrong floor. I live in floor number 7, so I pressed 7 and I pressed 6 instead of 7, or 8 instead of 7, or whatever. Somebody punched a button in there and I got out. And one time, literally, I got off the elevator, same thing. I walked, opened the door totally, and looked inside, and it was not my furniture. Well, that was broad daylight. But the point is, it happens a lot. Now, I've got a video on here we're going to put on here, so you can see it's about 30 seconds, and just to show myself and others, it has me getting off the elevator on my floor and walking down and showing how this could happen. Going to my door. Now, she said when she opened the door, it was dark in there. So I turned off all the lights in my condo, walked out, and then opened the door. I've got the video of it, and you'll see that as soon as I open the door to the condo, it is pitch black. You cannot see anything. You don't know what your furniture looks like in there because you can't see anything. So I bought her story on that excuse. Now, whether that was she should have backed out or something else, who knows? I was not at the trial, so I don't know all the things that came out, but I can certainly see that was her excuse. Now, that would come down to me, I would think, in training problems. She wasn't trained properly. Not excusing her. She got convicted. I think she probably should have gotten convicted of something, and she did, and she probably got about the right amount of years she should have got, which is 10. She'll most likely get out in 5. I'm not an attorney, but usually that's, as we look around, that's usually what happens. She'll get out in 5, and if she's good and did the right thing, and she'll pay her debt, she'll still be young enough to carry on with her life, and she's going to have to carry that heavy burden all her life. Well, now we've got a similar situation where a police officer answered a call, and he shot and killed a woman. Now, all the activists have come out, and even the guy that made the 911 call have come out and say, hey, we just called and said there was an open door. And they came out, and they never called out and said they were the police. They were just kind of sneaking around the house, and then he called out and shot her. Well, now it's come out that the call was sent to this officer, whether it was dispatches fault or not, it came to the officer as a structure that had been entered into. So they're kind of thinking they're going into, somebody has broken into a house. So that's the mindset that they've got when they're going in. So we've got to give these guys some sort of benefit of the doubt instead of climbing all over the moment it happens. And when this happens, you have these activists speaking out. It's, they're sitting around waiting for this, is the impression that I'm getting. They can't wait. As soon as somebody has a situation similar to this, they're going to jump on it. They're going to try to make hay out of it. They're going to try to raise money out of it. They're going to try to get sound bites so they can justify what they're doing and enhance their race pimping career. So that's where I think that issue is going. And even the nephew, who the 8-year-old son that was in there, when he was interviewed, came out that the nephew said, the 8-year-old boy that was inside there when the lady got shot, she was carrying a gun and pointed it, his words, pointed it at the officer when he yelled through the window to put up her hands. Well, the guy's thinking there's a burglar in there. It's burglary's an equal opportunity, so is murder. A woman or a man can shoot an officer just as well as anybody else. And so that's what happened. And so we've really, but the poor cop, all right, maybe his training was not that well, maybe his judgment wasn't that well, but I lay that at the feet of the city council, and I lay that at the feet of the city manager, and I lay that at the feet of the police chief, because the city council is the one that hires the city manager, and the city manager works at the discretion with a contract with the city council. So they can, the city council, and the city manager does the city council's bidding. The city manager must go out and hire a police chief, and that police chief is responsible for training his officers, responsible for recruiting officers. So you need to recruit well and you need to train well if you're going to avoid situations like this. So this goes back again to the city council. It goes straight to the top. So you need to pay attention to your city council members when it comes time to vote for one. And these poor cops, I had a friend of mine, a guy I went to high school with. Even though I went to high school here in Dallas for a year, I moved to Louisiana for the last 2 years of high school. I knew a guy there who went off, he was a smart guy, he went off to Baylor, graduated, and then graduated in 77, and then he decided to become a Dallas policeman. And so I moved back to Dallas in 78. He was living in Garland at that time, and he got on with the Dallas Police Department. And he was telling me about some of his training that he had to go through. A lot of it was pretty intense psychological training. So they didn't just throw him out on the streets. Actually, in 78, when I was back, I went on a ride with him and got in some pretty tense situations where we didn't know who was going to be, rounding a corner with a gun or whatever. In fact, they had a shotgun in there, and when he got out of the car at one stop, he said, if you feel threatened, you can grab that shotgun and defend yourself. So, and this was in the bowels of South Dallas at about midnight, and so I was on edge. But it was an experience. And I've also got another friend who retired as a Highland Park Police Department officer, who is now an air conditioning technician, and I use him on some of the properties that I manage. And I was asking him about this situation with Amber Guyger and why the cops in Dallas are unhappy and all these things. And he goes, I was working, and this is him, says, I was working at Love Field as an officer, and I was thinking about going on upward with the Dallas Police Department. I opted out for Highland Park, he said, but the police force of Dallas at that time, that was one of the 2 premier police forces in the country, the other one being the Los Angeles Police Department. He said there wasn't a month that went by that there wasn't some law enforcement industry magazine that didn't have a cover article reference about the city of Dallas and some innovation they were doing in crime work and their effectiveness and how effective they were. And so the city has fallen quite far in their police department, and that's not a good thing. That's not safe for any of us. It's not safe for us that live here. It's not safe for people that travel here and from here, or travel through here or to here or whatever. It's just not a good situation. So Anyway, that's where I lay that blame. That's where it goes. That's the update on the police department and these items. And we will discuss more at another time. And anyway, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.